Hello, it's December 25th. Happy Mary for whatever you're celebrating. And it's day 5 of our YouTube launch, the 12 days of Yule. Let me know in the comments if you've been following along with us. Today, we move into this energy of the new moon in Capricorn. The darkest aspect actually occurs tomorrow with the eclipse. But today we're going to learn about the energy of Capricorn and talk a little bit about the moon in general and her magical qualities. So, number 1, the moon is ever changing. She goes in and out of the signs of the zodiac every few days, always offering us opportunities for new feelings, new choices, new meditations, new action plans, new releases, all the new. The sun is the driver, and the moon is this mysterious reflector of our ego, our personality, our earth life. The moon rules the tides on this planet that is comprised of 71% water. So she's a powerful mover of energy. Women menstruate with a moon cycle. Whatever your moon cycle is, you do have a cycle. The moon is the ruler of the dark. Now, you know how it is in the dark as opposed to the light of day. Sometimes our emotions can get the best of us. Our anxieties can get the best of us. But we also have that dreaminess and that conjuring ability. The moon is wild and emotionally very complex. If you want to learn a lot about magical timing and the use of moon phases in magic, I would recommend checking out The Witching Hour by Silver Ravenwolf. And I'm going to put a link to her book in the description section below. I like to think of new moons as pure potential. This is where we hold out our energetic hands. And we do this with both trust and trepidation because, we trust that our intentions will be cast out and will be caught by the cosmos. But we also have this little anxiety like, what the hell's the moon gonna do with it? So my suggestion is always cast your intentions and know that they will be caught, but don't get attached to any particular outcome. Leave it broad at the new moon. Allow the sacred, the room to fulfill your desires in any possible way she could conjure. The moon speaks to us in different languages. She's more symbolic. She expresses her love for us in synchronicities and magical moments where the right song comes on the radio or the right text comes through to you from a dear friend you've been estranged with. She speaks to us in this lunar Morse code. So when I talk about following the breadcrumbs, moon magic really requires that you're tuned into the different forms of communication. I really tend to get messages from songs and books and podcasts and overhearing little snippets of conversation as I'm walking around the world. It's almost like my ears magically light up and say, "Ooh, what's that?" "Oh, a message from the moon." So I want you to think about the moon card from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. We see this luminary, but we also see fear and distortion. The moon evokes the creatures of the night. We see the wolves howling at the moon. We see the water crustacean coming up out of the water onto land. This is the dominion of myth and lore. It's not a work of nonfiction, for sure. I love what Rachel Pollack says in the right. I love what Rachel Pollack says in 78 Degrees of Wisdom. Remember that the star and the sun, so the card before the moon and the card after the moon, give off their own light. But the moon reflects the hidden light of the sun. So this causes us to think archetypally of the distortions in our personalities. So what does this mean to our lived practices? Certainly initiations and new beginnings start to germinate, like they get popped out there with the new moon. So setting intention that's broad and expansive, and knowing that the details will come later. This is a time to start the relationship, to launch the thing, to send the email, to write the check, to write the resignation letter, to get things in motion. And get this, even before you know how they're going to roll out and actually look in your lived experience. The new moon is a wonderful time to seek guidance through divination. So get out your cards, call in your guides and angels and light beings and ancestors. Get the posse together and do a little communing with the other side of the veil. This is also a good time to solidify any banishing work that you did in the few days leading up to the new moon. So if you're really done, be done. When the new moon comes, be done. Whatever you banished, like, give it 0 fucks at this point. The new moon is a precious time for ritual and ceremony of a more focused and private nature. You know, I tend to get my big group together here at the SpiritWings space for the full moon, because on the new moon, I like to go within. I like to have some private time with the sacred. So now we're going to enter Capricorn, because the new moon's in Capricorn, the sun's in Capricorn. There's so many other planets in Capricorn right now, and there's an eclipse tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to be doing eclipse magic. Right now, if you haven't already, I want you to subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you get notified. Now, Capricorn, my lovely little intense, focused, Dudley Do-Right. Saturn rules Capricorn, and Saturn likes hard limits, clear, uncrossable lines, predictable patterns, impeccable actions. Everything Capricorn does and Saturn rules needs to be guided by your moral code. Now, I'm talking about your personal moral code, not one imposed upon you by people you don't agree with, not one that you think you should have because you saw somewhere that this was a good one to have, but one that actually resonates with your soul contract. I like to think of Capricorn as the sort of the beacon of consensual culpability, you know? And don't be a precious snowflake about it. You know, some shit went down, you did some things happened, other people got involved, accept responsibility for right where you are, ask for guidance, and stay in your integrity. Capricorn really reminds me to attend to my social responsibility. So this is a great time to think about larger paradigms that stick in your craw, and maybe that you want to do some social action around. I think of things like patriarchy and white supremacy, corporatocracy, classism, oppressions of all kinds. This is a really good time for you to say, hey, what am I doing right now that's socially responsible and reflects my values? And then maybe you want to make some calls and find out some things and do some political work or some community work or some social work and get involved. Anyway, I know Capricorn sounds like quite the task mistress, and Saturn has sort of a passionate affiliation with kind of a S&M quality to it. But this can be really good energy for getting yourself back on track. Capricorn follows Sagittarius. Sagittarius tends to be that more jovial, expansive, life of the party, let's buy all the things, let's drink all the wine, let's party with all our people. And then Capricorn comes in right after and says, okay, the party's over. What are you really gonna do with your life? So here's your assignment for today. And you can respond to this in the comments below, or you can go to our Facebook group, Tarot for Real Life, and put a comment there with maybe your favorite Capricorn meme. Here's your questions though. What are you willing to put down and leave in 2019? What are you going to stop being a victim about? What are you going to call in courage and determination and willpower and devotion to support? What are you going to do to get over any privileged thinking that you have about, I shouldn't have to do this? How will you take responsibility for it? How will you create structure? Capricorn and its ruler Saturn love to have structures and foundations, stability and workable paradigms. So type in the comments or go to our Facebook group and tell us, what are you going to put down in 2019? And what are you going to take responsibility for as you walk into 2020?